Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our Sunday Krishna book reading to Srila Prabhupada. We've just started the fourth time around Krishna book now. We've been reading to Prabhupada here in his sacred room for 4 years. So about every year we finish the completion of Krishna book. So now we're on Chapter 1, the Advent of Lord Krishna. But we read a couple of pages in last Sunday, so at about the third or fourth page, you'll catch up with your Krishna books. So as we always do, let us offer respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Namo Vishnuvadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Bhaskachade Shatarne, and to each other. Panchakalpadrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, as we were saying, about 5 pages in, at the top of the page, while the bride and bridegroom were passing along on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums combined together. They were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced to Kamsa, "Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, and are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you."
Kansa was the son of Ugrasena of the Bhoja dynasty. It is said that Kansa was the most demoniac of all the Bhoja dynasty kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva was astonished at Kansa's behavior, and in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he began to speak as follows. With great reason and evidence, he said, "My dear brother-in-law Kansa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior and a valiant king. How is it that you are so infuriated that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of a marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took your birth, you began to die. Suppose you are 25 years old, that means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second, you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. You may die either today or in 100 years. You cannot avoid death. Why should you be so much afraid? Actually, death means annihilation of the present body. As soon as the present body stops functioning and mixes with the 5 elements of the material nature, the living entity within the body accepts another body, according to his present action and reaction. It is just like when a man walks on the street, he puts forward his foot, and when he is confident that his foot is situated on sound ground, he lifts the other foot. In this way, one after another, the bodies change and the soul transmigrates. See how the plantworms change from one twig to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as the higher authorities decide on his next body. As long as the living entity is conditioned within this material world, he must take material bodies one after another. His next particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to the actions and reactions of this life.
The body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dreams. During our dream of sleep, we create so many bodies according to mental creation. We have seen gold and we have also seen a mountain. So, in a dream, we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Sometimes in dreams, we see that we have a body which is flying in the sky, and at that time, we completely forget our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing. When you have one body, you forget the past body. During a dream, we may make contact with so many new kinds of bodies, but when we are awake, we forget them all. And actually, these material bodies are the creations of our mental activities. But at the present moment, we do not recollect our past bodies.
The nature of the mind is flickering. Sometimes it accepts something and immediately it rejects the same thing. Accepting and rejecting is the process of the mind in contact with the five objects of sense gratification: form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. In its speculative way, the mind comes in touch with the objects of sense gratification, and when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature. The living entity accepts a body and comes out again into the material world to enjoy or suffer according to the construction of the body. Unless we have a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental proclivities inherited from the previous life. The particular type of body is actually offered to us according to our mental condition at the time of death. The luminous planets like the sun. Okay. Oh, sorry. One paragraph.
The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoirs, like water, oil, or ghee. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of the moon is on the water, and the moving water makes the moon also appear to be moving. But actually, the moon is not moving. Similarly, by mental concoction, the living entity attains different kinds of bodies. Although actually he has no connection with the such bodies, but on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is the way of conditioned life. Supposed a living entity is now in a human form of body. He thinks that he belongs to the human community or a particular country or a particular place. He identifies himself in that way and unnecessarily prepares for another body, which is not required by him. Such desires and mental concoctions are the cause of different types of bodies. The covering influence of material nature is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in whatever body he gets, and he identifies with that body with great pleasure. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the dictation of your mind and body.
Vasudev thus requested Kamsa not to be envious of his newly married sister. One should not be envious of anyone, because envy is the cause of fear, both in this world and in the next. When one is before Yamraj, the lord of punishment after death, Vasudev appealed to Kamsa on behalf of Devaki, stating that she was his younger sister. He also appealed at an auspicious moment at the time of marriage. A younger sister or brother is supposed to be protected as one's child. The position is overall so delicate. Vasudev reasoned that if you kill her, it will go against your high reputation.
In this way, Vasudeva tried to pacify Kamsa by good instruction, as well as by philosophical discrimination. But Kamsa was not to be pacified, because his association was demoniac. Because of his demoniac association, he was a demon, although born in a very high royal family. A demon never cares for any good instruction. He's just like a determined thief. One can give him moral instruction, but it will not be effective. Similarly, those who are demoniac or atheistic by nature can hardly assimilate any good instruction, however authorized it may be. That's the difference between demigods and demons. Those who can accept good instruction and try to live their lives in that way are called demigods, and those who are unable to take such good instruction are called demons.
Failing in his attempt to pacify Kamsa, Vasudeva wondered how he would protect his wife Devaki. When there is imminent danger, an intelligent person should try to avoid the dangerous position as far as possible. But if in spite of endeavoring by all intelligence, one fails to avoid the dangerous position, there is no fault on his part. One should try his best to execute his duties, but if the attempt fails, he is not at fault. Vasudeva thought of his wife as follows: "For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then, later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them." He further thought, "If in the future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved, because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, some way or other, let me save the life of Devaki."
There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, just as there is no certainty how a blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is a forest fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is still very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharat was very faithfully executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he developed temporary affection for a deer, and in his next life he had to accept the body of a deer.
Vasudeva, after deliberating on how to save his life, began to speak to Kamsa with great respect. Although Kamsa was the most sinful man, sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudeva has no flatter a person like Kamsa, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudeva was deeply aggrieved, he smiled outwardly. He addressed the shameless Kamsa in that way because he was so atrocious. Vasudeva said to Kamsa, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is to come from the sons of your sister, who are not present now, and who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present. Nor is there cause of fear from your sister. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action.
Kans knew the value of Vasudev's word of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. For the time being, he desisted from the heinous killing of his sister. Thus, Vasudev was pleased and praised the decision of Kans. In this way, he returned to his home. Okay. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki gave birth to a child. Thus, she gave birth to 8 male children as well as 1 daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudev kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kans. It is said that Vasudev was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudev to hand over the newly born child, Kans was very glad to receive him. But he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudev. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudev, there is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudev carries out his duties without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kans never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kans can act in any sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Kansa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise, and being compassionate upon him and pleased, he began to speak as follows: My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kamsa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kamsa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandita said, Never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman. Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith.
At the time the great sage Narada came to Kansa, he was informed of Kansa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning to his firstborn child. Narada was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kansa that in Vrindavan, personalities like Nanda Maharaj and all the other cowherd men and their wives, and on the other side Vasudeva, his father Surasena, and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, along with all their friends and well-wishers, were actually demigods. Narada warned Kansa to be careful of them. Since Kansa and his friend and advisors were all demons, demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kansa at once became very much alarmed. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars.
Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the 8th child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth from Devaki and Vasudev. This action of Kamsa is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances of persons in the royal order who have killed their father, brother, or whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for members of the demoniac, greedy royal order can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions.
Kamsa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He learned that in his previous birth, he had been a demon of the name Kalanemi, and that he had been killed by Vishnu. Having now taken his birth in the Bhoja family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kamsa was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he had been killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasen, because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andaka dynasties. And he also occupied the kingdom of Shurasen, Vasudev's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of Krishna, the advent of Lord Krishna.
Haribol. Chapter 2. Prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. King Kamsa not only occupied the kingdoms of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andaka dynasties and the kingdom of Surasena, but he also made alliances with all the other demoniac kings as follows: the demon Pralamba, demon Baka, demon Chanura, demon Trinavarta, demon Agasura, demon Mushtika, demon Arista, demon Dravida, demon Putana, demon Keshi, and demon Denuka. At that time, Jarasandha was the king of Magadha province, known at present as Bihar state. Thus, by his diplomatic policy, Kamsa consolidated the most powerful kingdom of his time under the protection of Jarasandha. He made further alliances with such kings as Banasura and Bhaumasura until he was the strongest. Then he began to behave most inimically towards the Yadu dynasty, into which Krishna was to take his birth.
Being harassed by Kansa, the kings of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andaka dynasties began to take shelter in different states, such as the state of the Kurus, the state of the Panchalas, and the states of the known as the Kekaya, Shalva, Vidarbha, Nishada, Videha, and Koshala. Kansa broke the solidarity of the Yadu kingdom as well as the Bhoja and the Andaka. He made his position the most solid within the vast tract of land known at that time as Bharatvarsha. When Kansa was killing the 6 babies of Devaki and Vasudeva, one after another, many friends and relatives of Kansa approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities, but all of them became worshippers of Kansa.
When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, a plenary expansion of Krishna known as Ananta appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed with both jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful, for she could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb, but at the same time she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being compassionate upon the Yadus, who were fearful due to the atrocities committed by Kamsa, ordered the appearance of Yogamaya, his internal potency. Krishna is the Lord of the universe, but he is especially the Lord of the Yadu dynasty.
Yogmaya is the principal potency of the personality of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is stated that the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has multi-potencies. Shaktir Vividheva Shuyate. All the different potencies are acting externally and internally, and Yogmaya is the chief of all potencies. The Lord ordered the appearance of Yogmaya in the land of Vrajbhumi, in Vrindavan, which is always decorated and full with beautiful cows. In Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudev, was residing at the house of King Nand and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to the fear of the atrocities of Kans. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains.
The Lord thus informed Yogmaya, under the imprisonment of Kamsa are Devki and Vasudev, and at the present moment, my planetary expansion, Sesa, is within the womb of Devki. You can arrange the transfer of Sesa from the womb of Devki to the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudev, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nand and Yasoda in Vrindavan. Since you will appear as my contemporary sister, and since you will quickly satisfy desires for sense gratification, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable presentations, incense, candles, flowers, and offering of sacrifice. People who are after materialistic perfection will worship you under the different forms of your expansions, which will be named Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sarada, and Ambika.
Krishna and Yogamaya appeared as brother and sister, the Supreme Personality and the Supreme Power, although there is no clear distinction between the powerful and the power. Power is always subordinate to the powerful. Those who are materialistic are worshippers of the power, but those who are transcendentalist are worshippers of the powerful. Krishna is the supreme powerful, and Durga is the supreme power within the material world. Actually, people in the Vedic culture worship both the powerful and the power. There are many hundreds and thousands of themselves temples of Vishnu and Devi, and sometimes they are worshipped simultaneously. The worshipper of the power Durga or the external energy of Krishna may achieve all kinds of material success very easily, but anyone who wants to be elevated transcendently must engage in worshipping the powerful in Krishna consciousness.
The Lord also declared to Yogamaya, my plenary expansion Anantashesha is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Sankarshan and will be the source of all spiritual power or bala, by which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Ramana. Therefore, the plenary portion of Ananta will be known after his appearance either as Sankarshan or as Balaram. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Nayam Atma Bala Hinena Labhya. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme platform of self realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram or Sankarshan. Ananta or Shesha is the source of the power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation, but actually it is a display of the potency of Sankarshan. Balaram or Sankarshan is the source of spiritual power or original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balram, is the original spiritual master, and the spiritual master is a representative of Balaram, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna.
Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya circumambulated the Lord and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When Yogamaya, the supreme power of the supremely powerful Personality of Godhead, transferred Lord Sesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both Devaki and Rohini were under Yogamaya's spell, which is called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people thought that Devaki's seventh pregnancy had been a miscarriage. Thus, although Balaram appeared as the son of Devaki, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who was always ready to protect his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva as the Lord of the whole creation, with full, inconceivable potencies. It is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna, first of all, situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way, by seminal injection within the womb of a woman.
When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere, and specifically within the heart, is called Dham. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form, but also to his name, his qualities, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east.
Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva without being subject to any of the conditions of an ordinary living entity. Since Krishna was there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions, such as Narayan and incarnation like Lord Nrsimha and Varaha, were with him, and they also were not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creations. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was confined within the house of Kansa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. When fire is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which doesn't benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kansa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental body beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed because he was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who would kill him in the future, had now come. Kamsa began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she was Vishnu or Krishna within her womb. So it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one decides to kill his reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman, and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her, immediately my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life will all be finished.
He further deliberated. A person who is too cruel is as good as dead, even in this lifetime. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime and after his death. People curse him. On account of his self identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kans thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. Kans finally decided not to kill Devaki right away but to wait for the inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the delivery of the child, expecting to kill him as he had done previously with the other babies of Devaki, thus being merged in the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead. He began to think of Krishna or Vishnu while sitting, while sleeping, while walking, while eating, while working, in all the situations of his life. His mind became so much absorbed with the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that indirectly he could see only Krishna or Vishnu around him. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. The state of mind of a great devotee is also to be always absorbed in Krishna, but a devotee thinks of him favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably is not Krishna consciousness.
At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select verses, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first words they spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to his vow. As stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna descends to this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. The demigods could understand that the Lord had taken his residence within the womb of Devaki to fulfill his vow, and they were very glad that the Lord was appearing in order to fulfill his mission.
Then the demigods address the Lord as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth, that is the philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the Absolute Truth. Krishna is the Absolute Truth because, unlike relative truth, he is the truth in all three phases of eternal life. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by supreme time in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing, and when there is a creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within the material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within the material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. If there is any reputation within this material world, the cause of reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truth.
The material world is composed of 5 principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And all such elements are emanations from Krishna. The material scientists accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of material manifestation. But the elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna. The living entities who are working within this material world are products of his marginal potency. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, it is clearly stated that the whole manifestation is a combination of 2 kinds of energies of Krishna, the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the dead material elements are his inferior energy. In his dormant stage, everything remains in Krishna.
The demigods continue to offer their respectful prayers unto the supreme form of the personality of Godhead Krishna by analytical study of the material manifestation. What is this material manifestation? It's just like a tree. A tree stands on the ground. Similarly, the tree of the material manifestation is standing on the ground of material nature. This material manifestation is compared to a tree because a tree is ultimately cut off in due course of time. A tree is called vriksha. Vriksha means that thing which will be ultimately cut off. Therefore, this tree of the material manifestation cannot be accepted as the ultimate truth because it is influenced by time. But Krishna's body is eternal. He existed before the material manifestation. He is existing while the material manifestation is continuing. And when it will be dissolved, he will continue to exist. Therefore, only Krishna can be accepted as the absolute truth. And there we have it.
Yes. The Katha Upanishad also cites this example of the tree of the material manifestation standing on the ground of material nature. This tree has 2 kinds of fruits, distress and happiness. Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like 2 birds. One bird is the localized aspect of Krishna known as the Paramatma, and the other bird is the living entity. The living entity is eating the fruits of this material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruit of happiness. and sometimes he eats the fruit of distress. But the other bird is not interested in eating the fruit of distress or happiness because he is self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one bird on the tree of the body is eating the fruits and the other bird is simply witnessing. The roots of this tree extend in 3 directions. This means that the root of the tree is the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Just as the tree's root expands, so by association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands his duration of material existence. The tastes of the fruits are of 4 kinds: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation. According to the different associations in the 3 modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of sense gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are 3 qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through 5 senses. The 5 sense organs through which knowledge is acquired are subjected to 6 kinds of whips: lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, and thirst. This material body, or the material manifestation, is covered by 7 layers: skin, flesh, blood, marrow, bone, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. There are 9 gates in this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, 1 rectum. And there are 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: pran, apan, udana, vyama, and samana, etc. The 2 birds seated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma.
The root cause of the material manifestation described here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands in self to take charge of the 3 qualities of the material modes. Vishnu takes charge of the modes of goodness, Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Brahma, by the mode of passion, creates his manifestation. Lord Vishnu maintains his manifestation by the mode of goodness, and Lord Shiva annihilates it by the mode of ignorance. The whole creation, ultimately raised in the Supreme Lord, is the cause of all creation, maintenance, and dissolutions. And when the whole manifestation is dissolved in its subtle form, as his energy, it rests within his body.
At present, the demigods prayed, the Supreme Lord Krishna is appearing just for the maintenance of this manifestation. Actually, the supreme cause is one, but less intelligent persons, being deluded by the 3 modes of material nature, see that the material world is manifested through different causes. Those who are intelligent can see that the cause is one, Krishna. As it is stated in the Brahma Samhita, Isvara Parama Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of all causes. Brahma is the deputed agent for creation. Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna for maintenance. And Lord Shiva is the expansion of Krishna for dissolution.
Our dear Lord, the demigods prayed, "It is very difficult to understand your eternal form or personality. People in general are unable to understand your actual form. Therefore, you are personally descending to exhibit your original eternal form. Somehow, people can understand the different incarnations of your Lordship, but they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna with two hands moving among human beings exactly like one of them. This eternal form of your Lordship gives ever increasing transcendental pleasure to the devotees, but for the non devotees, this form is very dangerous. As stated in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is very pleasing to the sadhus, paritranaya sadhunam. But this form is very dangerous for the demons because Krishna also descends to kill the demons. He is, therefore, simultaneously pleasing to the devotees and dangerous to the demons.
Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, you are the source of pure goodness. There are many great sages who simply by samadhi or transcendently meditating upon your lotus feet and thus being absorbed in your thought have easily transformed the great ocean of nescience created by the material nature into no more than the water in a calf's hoofprint. The purpose of meditation is to focus the mind upon the personality of Godhead, beginning from his lotus feet. Simply by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages cross over this vast ocean of material existence without difficulty.
O self-illuminated one, the great saintly person who have crossed over the ocean of nescience by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet, have not taken that boat. It is still lying on the side. If one takes a boat to cross over a river, the boat also goes with the one who to that other side of the river. And so when one reaches the destination, how can the same boat is available to those who are still on that side? To answer this difficulty, the demigods say in their prayer that the boat of the Lord's lotus feet is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on the side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature because the pure devotee do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When they simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material nescience is reduced to the size of the water in a calf's hoofprint. Therefore, the devotee do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately because the great saintly persons are compassionate toward all conditioned souls. The boat as still lying on the side. In other words, one can meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord at any time, and by so doing, one can cross over the great ocean of material existence.
Meditation means concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord, lotus feet indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but those who are impersonalists do not recognize the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore their object of meditation is something impersonal. The demigods express their mature verdict that persons who are interested in meditating on something void or impersonal cannot cross over the ocean of nescience. Such persons are simply imagining that they have become liberated. O lotus eyed Lord, their intelligence is contaminated because they fail to meditate upon the lotus feet of your Lordship. As a result of this neglectful activity, the impersonalists fall down again into the material way of conditioned life, although they may temporarily rise to the point of impersonal realization. Impersonalists undergo severe austerities and penances to merge themselves into the Brahman effulgence or impersonal Brahman existence. But their minds are not free from material contamination. They have simply tried to negate the material ways of thinking. That does not mean that they have become liberated. Thus, they fall down.
In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is stated that the impersonalist has to undergo great tribulation in realizing his ultimate goal. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also stated that without devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive activities. The statement of Lord Krishna is there in the Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam. The statement of the great sage Narada is there, and here also the demigods confirm it. Quote, persons who have not taken to devotional service are understood to have come short of the ultimate purpose of knowledge and are not favored by your grace. Unquote. The personalists simply think that they are liberated, but actually they have no feeling for the personality of Godhead. They think that when Krishna comes into the material world, he accepts the material body. They therefore overlook the transcendental body of Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Avajanante Mamudha. In spite of conquering material lust and rising to the point of liberation, the impersonalists fall down. If they are engaged just in knowing things for the sake of knowledge and do not take the devotional service of the Lord, they cannot achieve the desired result. Their achievement is the trouble they take, and that is all.
It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that to realize Brahman identification is not all. Brahman identification may help one become joyful without material attachment or detachment and to achieve the platform of equanimity, but after this stage, one has to take to devotional service. When one takes to devotional service, after being elevated to the platform of Brahman realization, he is then admitted into the spiritual kingdom for permanent residence in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the result of devotional service. Those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead never fall down like the impersonalists. Even if the devotees fall down, they remain affectionately attached to their Lord. They can meet all kinds of obstacles on the path of devotional service, and freely, without any fear, they can surmount such obstacles. Because of their surrender, they are certain that Krishna will always protect them. As it is promised by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, my devotees are never vanquished.
Our dear Lord, the demigods continued, you have appeared in your original unalloyed form, the eternal form of goodness, for the welfare of all living entities within this material world. Taking advantage of your appearance, all of them can now very easily understand the nature and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who belong to the four divisions of the social order, the brahmacharis, grahastha, vanaprastha, and the sannyasis, can all take advantage of your appearance. Dear Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune, devotees who are doubted in your service do not fall down from their high positions like the impersonalist. Being protected by you, the devotees are able to traverse over the heads of many of the Maya's commanders in chief, who can always put stumbling blocks on the path of liberation. Dear Lord, you appear in your eternal transcendental form for the benefit of the living entities so that they can see you face to face and offer their worshipful sacrifices by ritualistic performance of the Vedas, mystic meditations, and devotional service as recommended in the scriptures. Dear Lord, if you didn't appear in your eternal transcendental form, full of bliss and knowledge, a form which can eradicate all kinds of speculative ignorance about your position, then all people would simply speculate about you according to their respective modes of material nature.
The appearance of Krishna is the answer to all imaginative iconography of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone imagines the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his mode of material nature. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is the oldest person. Therefore, a section of religionists imagine that God must be very old, and therefore they depict a form of the Lord like a very old man. But in the same Brahma Samhita, that is contradicted, although he is the oldest of all living entities. He has his eternal form as a fresh youth. The exact words used in this connection is in Srimad Bhagavatam or Vijnanam Ajnana Vida Paramajaranam. Vijnanam means the transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vijnanam is also experienced knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be accepted by the descending process of disciplic succession, as Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way he presented the form and the pastimes of Krishna in the transcendental abode.
This knowledge is Agyan Bidhapamarjanam, that which can smash all kinds of speculation in ignorance. People are imagining the form of the Lord. Sometimes he has no form and sometimes he has form, according to their different imaginations. But the presentation of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam, scientific, experienced knowledge given by Lord Brahma and accepted by Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, there is no doubt about it. Krishna's form, Krishna's flute, Krishna's color, everything is reality. Here it is said that this Vijnanam is always defeating all kinds of speculative knowledge. Therefore, without your appearing as Krishna as you are, neither Agyan Bidhapamarjanam, destruction of the nescience of the speculative knowledge, nor Vijnanam would be realized. In other words, your appearance will vanquish the ignorance of the speculative knowledge and establish the real experienced knowledge of authorities like Lord Brahma. Men influenced by the three modes of material nature imagine their own God according to the modes of material nature. In this way, God is presented in various ways, but your appearance will establish what the real form of God is.
The highest blunder committed by the impersonalists is to think that when the incarnation of God comes, he accepts the form of matter in the mode of goodness. Actually, the form of Krishna or Narayana is transcendental to any material idea. Even the greatest impersonalist, Sankaracharya, has admitted Narayana Vyakat, Vyaktat. Vyaktat. The material creation is caused by the avyakt, impersonal manifestation of matter, or the non-phenomenal total reservoir of matter. But Krishna is transcendental to that material conception that is expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam as Suddha Sattva or transcendental goodness. He does not belong to the material mode of goodness and he is above the position of material goodness. He belongs to the transcendental eternal status of bliss and knowledge.
Dear Lord, when you appear in your different incarnations, you take different names and different forms according to different situation. Lord Krishna is your name because you are all attractive. You are called Shyama Sundara because you are transcendental beauty. Shyama means blackish, yet it is said that you are more beautiful than thousands of cupids. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya. Although you appear in color which is compared to blackish, cloud because you are the transcendental absolute. Your beauty is many, many times more attractive than the delicate body of Cupid. Sometimes you are called Giridhari because you lifted the hill known as Govardhana. You are also sometimes called Nanda Nandana or Vasudeva or Devaki Nandana because you appear as the son of Maharaj Nanda or Vasudeva or Devaki. Impersonalists think that you may name your many names or forms are given according to particular type of work and quality because they accept you from the position of a material observer.
So, my dear devotees, that concludes our 1 hour of reading Krishna book to Srila Prabhupada. Pranam Srila Prabhupada for allowing us to come and read to you. And as we always do, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskachadi Chatarane, and to each other. Vanchakalpadrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhievacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So keep coming back. Krishna Bhakti Jai.